Hello people, I just recorded this video, but I just realized I was saying game ticks instead of redstone ticks the whole time, and so I would have been butchered in the comments section. But so I just decided to read the whole thing. So basically, what we have here is a 10 hertz or 10 outputs per second hopper ROM. And how this works is it's basically 4 hopper ROMs that go off right after each other. Let me explain that really quick. So a hopper ROM basically takes a chest full of with a series of non-stackable and stackable items and converts that into on or off signals. Um, and of course, you swap the position of these chests to replay the signal, replay it. Yeah. But basically, if you do this, you have to keep it the same way. There's no way to change it. And I basically made it so I could change it. And what we do is we just empty out those bottom chests, and then we refill the chests in a certain order. This one, then this one, then this one, and this one. Repeat. And that way, you don't have to do any wacky stuff when you're like setting up the shulker box. You put the items in the order that they're being played. Another advantage to having 4 hopper ROMs played right after each other is you can have non-stackable items next to each other or play right after each other after one redstone tick without any issue. If you just had a single hopper ROM and let's say you filled it all with non-stackable items, it would only act as one output, one long output. Um, and you don't necessarily want that. Usually you want a series of outputs. So this lets you have up to 4 sequential notes, but of course after those notes you have to have at least one space after them because you can't have 2 non-stackables next to each other. It just would create one long pulse. But I've been talking for too long. Let me just show you what I have preloaded. Play that one more time. If you don't know, that is this being played at 1 redstone tick intervals. So just imagine these are spaces and these are the note blocks being pressed. There we go. But of course, you wouldn't build this entire machine just to play one tune. So let's put on this thing. Oh, and of course we have to delete our data. Let me show you that really quick. So I press this button. It takes all the items out of these chests, making them empty, and so essentially they will store no data. Boom. Okay, that's done. Everything's back in place. So now, the only thing that is kind of goofy about this build is that to start up the next encoder, smack this bell twice. There we go. So now there should be an item in the hopper and an item in the dropper. Let me just make sure that everything's set up properly, because sometimes if you're not starting at the, what's it called? Yeah, at the proper position, sometimes you'll get double stacks, but you're usually okay. Alright, I think this is ready to start encoding. Feel free to skip this part. It's probably going to be a little bit. This is a lot faster at encoding than my MP3 player. That's only because this is, instead of deciding out of 25 options, is already being told which one to go to. Nothing's being decided. Well, the item is not deciding anything. It's a sequence. So the first item will go into the chest, the top right chest. The next item, top left. The next item, bottom right. Next item, bottom left. And then of course, repeat. The reason I did this was so that I only had to lock two hoppers. I only have to lock this hopper, and I only really have to move this to switch if it goes this way or down. And of course down here, I lock this hopper so that instead it goes this way. Yeah. Basically, it's a 4-way divider that evenly distributes in order the items. This is just going to take a little bit. But of course, once it's encoded, you can play it back as many times as you need to. Yeah. You could also set up a thing that could probably recollect it. I don't know if you could get it recollected in the same order though. Although you could make a machine that auto sorts for buckets, which is a thing. It would be a lot of work, but you would technically be able to create a machine that could write songs for this, or write melodies for this, because these are all the same note. Um, yeah, there's not really a lot of uses for this, like at all. Um, this was an attempt to see if I could improve a design like my MP3 player, but honestly, I don't. I think I'm just gonna have to use an MP3 player design stacked on top of each other, because I'd have to do this for every single note, and I'd have to program each note individually instead of programming the entire song, and I don't know, it would be a pain. But this was cool, and it was a good project, and somebody downvoted my earlier Hopper ROM, and I don't know why. I thought it was pretty good. They didn't leave a comment. Um, if that was you, I don't care, you know. But that was kind of the reason I made this, because I was like, well, if they don't like that, I better do something ridiculously goofy, you know. Alright, 3 more items left to encode. Well, technically 4, because there's an extra item in the hopper. And so what this is going to sound like is this. And of course, if you map that out, you can figure out which items are going to be in which chest if you want to do it manually. And if you don't want to do any of this nonsense, you could just, like, for example, just evenly distribute them yourself and then just have it replay like that. But, like, I mean, if you're going to do something goofy, you might as well go full goofy. Alright, so we are done. Right? Okay, I think that's done. I guess. Now we gotta press play. Pretty good, pretty good. Look at the shulker box and see if you can kind of like imagine the notes being played. There you go. That last one you could really tell a lot better. Yeah. It's not perfect. Sometimes lag makes things happen on the same tick instead of one tick sequentially after each other. But I think this is as good as we're gonna get. But I mean, at the same time, if you can make a reprogrammable Hopper ROM that's better than this, I mean, cookies to you, bro. Cookies to you. Alright, that's really it. Goodbye.